What tales would your motorcycle tell? They say that every single scratch, every busted plastic or makeshift mod, every worn down lug or missing bolt has a story. Well, if busted pieces and missing bolts really do tell a story, then my old 1994 KLR 650 would be an epic. It was my first dual sport motorcycle and it changed my life. It took me far beyond any road ever could. You can call it an adventure motorcycle, you can call it a dual sport, you can call it an ugly piece of turd for all I care, because I did. I remember noticing a KLR 650, though I didn't know it was that, for the first time in a parking lot with its knobby tires and its lurpy height, faded pink plastics, and thinking, that is the nastiest motorcycle I've ever seen. But when I got the itch to travel via motorcycles, not on the roads, but on bad roads and dirt roads and whatever, there wasn't a more beautiful bike out there to me. This is Stencil's KLR 650, but mine looked very similar when I bought it. I paid $1,700 for all of this 1994 purple and teal Taco Bell glory. It was slow and awkward and top heavy, but I wanted it for where it could go, and less for what it looked like. However, hot pink and purple and teal just didn't scream adventure to me, and for months I had drooled over the military drab builds and paint jobs on KLR650.net. So the very first thing I bought for my KLR before I even had a proper helmet was sand-colored Krylon and truck bed liner. From that time forward, it took me to some amazing places. It helped me meet amazing people and taught me amazing things. I found out the joys of a dual sport lunch break, how it only took a few minutes to get away from it all and find peace in total solitude. I learned just how heavy a motorcycle can be when it's rubber side up, but how strong a willing hand can be. I learned over and over again that water is an essential thing to have on a long motorcycle trip, but blood is always thicker. I learned to push myself in ways that I didn't know that I could. I learned that family is more important to me than the miles under my belt or selfies in far-off lands. I learned that over time I didn't care what my motorcycle looked like or how I looked on it. I cared about if it got me there, and the KLR always got me there. People often ask me what I think of the KLR, the old tractor. Well, I love it and I hate it, but I love it way more than I hate it. Reviewing it would be like reviewing the old family dog. Despite the quirks and shortcomings, which aren't few, like the doohickey and the burning oil and the low power and the brittle controls and lacking suspension and the bolts that are born to strip, but just like the old KLR cliche says, though it didn't do everything particularly well, it still did everything. It almost seemed to enjoy the abuse. As my first off-road motorcycle, I had no idea how to care for it. I had no idea it even had an air filter. The diehards on KLR650.net had me believing that oil changes were pretty much optional, and dropping it over and over again without ever cleaning it was pretty much the norm. And yet, it never once let me down when I needed it. I've done some crazy crap on this bike, gotten into some bad situations, stuff that neither the bike or the rider were ever up to, and it still made it. It's been through some big crashes, some serious neglect, and some pretty sketchy rebuilds. And like an old dog, no matter how often it made a mess of things, I'll always love it for the awesome memories that I had. I look back and I think of all the amazing places that I've been on this motorcycle, all of the great people, and especially the stories that it tells. This motorcycle built me. It's the reason that I am who I am today. Sure, the bike is heavy and underpowered and wildly neglected, but that was still the best $1,700 that I've ever spent in my life. So, if I love it so much, why give it away? That's what people are asking. Well, as it stands with the terrain that I ride and the people that I ride with and the riding goals that I have and some of my physiological issues of late, while I still love the KLR 650, it spends a lot of time sitting idle, and that's a shame. My family is pretty young. I can't go off and ride around the world yet. It's hard enough for me to even get out for a week. I don't need it for a commute since my office is 4 feet from my bed, and with my health issues, I don't travel on it like I used to. So it wastes away in my garage. So I thought of a man who could use some solitude and some nature and some exploration and adventure. Maybe a little camaraderie even. A man who has spent his life in the service of his brothers, who risked his life and gave his all 4 separate times to serve his country, who's seen some hard things, who's done hard things, and who's made hard decisions. He's a hero of mine who I admire and I respect and I love. His family is growing up. He's finding more time to travel, more time to go out and explore. He's the quintessential he-man the KLR 650 was built for, and that is if he even wants it. I look back at all the memories that this KLR 650 has given me, and it's still got plenty of memories left to give. After all, it is invincible. But in my hands right now, all it finds is either neglect in my garage or abuse on trails that it endures, but it's just not built for. I'm really going to miss this motorcycle, but my missing it will be far outweighed by the memories and experiences it will bring to its new owner. So as always, a huge thanks to everybody who helped build and rebuild over and over again this motorcycle. Mr. Duff Factor, Mr. Rohoneck, Shenanigans, Rocky Mountain ATV MC, Tusk, Primary Drive, Seat Concepts, AE Motorsports, KLR Dash, to everybody who ever watched a KLR video on this channel, and of course to every one of my patrons, both past and present. Thank you guys so much for watching, and check out future videos to meet the new and very deserving owner of the KLR 650 Franken tractor. Much love to you all. eveRide out.